Hello and welcome to Play or Not to Play, and we're going to play the Oregon Trail. Now, funny thing is I already went through this with a farmer from Illinois, but a Windows update well, that's not what I meant, but killed my sound. So, I'm going through it again, but now I'm going through it on easy mode as a banker from Boston. Uh, and I'm just going to try to blitz it. Last time I went early, I hunted a whole bunch. I Everything was close to the chest type because I was a farmer and this is a resource management game as much as it is anything. At least 3 yoke, 2 oxen per yoke. Um, Screw it. Let's get 3 yoke because I'm rich. Food. How many pounds of food do I want? Well, let's go 800. Clothing. I got 5 people. Need 10 to get some extra. Ammunition. Well, I'm not going to be doing much hunting. Spare parts. How much do I want? We'll get. I can only carry 3 wagon wheels. I can only carry 3 axles. I bet I can only carry 3 of these too. Um, I get a ton of money, so I'll buy more. Yeah, nope. There we go. Maybe that'll be enough. And well, shoot, we're rich. We'll get 3 sets of clothes for everyone, and I get plenty of money. So I don't feel good about myself, but we're ready for the long road ahead. So the original Oregon Trail, I think it might have been just called Oregon, was released in the early 70s, 71 I believe. And it didn't have many of the things we see in this version, the 85 version I believe. It was all text-based in the early ones. Now, I've got a glorious map to look at. We're at the start of Independence on the right, and we've got to get to Oregon City in the top left. So, this is a simulation resource management game, pretty dated, but gameplay wise, it is actually I'm gonna keep going at a steady pace for now. You've got to get from one side of the country to the other. You start as a poor farmer. I think you got like $600. You start as a rich banker. You had 1,600. Obviously, things are not even. Sound wise, what you just heard, that's pretty much it. I'm jumping all over the place because I'm thinking of many different things at the moment. 3.6, I'm going to try to ford. Actually, I'm a rich banker. I'm going to take a ferry. I gotta wait 2 days. Um, let's wind back and start at the beginning. Plot of game's simple. You're starting in the United States. Independence, where you start off, is the launching point for the Oregon Trail. And this is pre-Gold Rush. I think the Gold Rush is going to happen next year with the 49ers, so you can see the date. So you're going out to just settle. Now, the middle of the country, historically speaking, wasn't settled because You can talk to people. Because it just wasn't set up for it. I can't hire a ferry, so I'm gonna ford the river. It was at 2 feet. If you leave too early, the rivers are still experiencing snow runoff and are like 7 feet deep or whatever, and you can't just ford them. So even picking when you leave in the year is a big deal. Man, I the rich get richer. I keep finding abandoned wagons. As a farmer, I was suffering broken wagon all the time, but so the interface is pretty simple. You've got things you can type like yes is a Y, and is a no, and that's all I can do for here. Spacebar is generally the accept button, but if you're inputting a command, it's whatever number and enter. And I'm going to look at my map. See, I'm not very far along the trail. I was pointing to it, but the black line, my pointing to it does nothing. You can't see my fingers. The black line is how far I've traveled. So before I get too much further, the other main gameplay feature in this, besides the random things, are hunting. And I shall do so now, even though I don't have to as a rich banker. You shoot things. It's not really worth it to shoot any squirrels or rabbits. They give you next to nothing. Deer give you about 50. Bison give you about 900. So I'm going to be packing a ton of food, but you can only carry 100. You also can't shoot through bodies or any of these bushes or anything on the map. So I wasted a ton of bullets there because after the first bison, it wasn't worth anything. I can't carry it back to my wagon. Which is one of the problems, one of the causes of bison depletion was everyone traveling across the plains and shooting them, and then not taking, Uncle Mtpy has broken a leg, not taking all the resources they could from it. They just shot it and carved up as much as they could and then kept moving. I certainly hope they carved up as much as they could and kept moving. But they were transient, the settlers going across the trail, whereas the natives lived there, and if you killed it, you might as well, darn thief, might as well take everything you can from it because you're going to be in the area for a while. Caused a lot of conflict amongst them, but that's not really the scope of this channel. Audibly, and when I get to this next thing, you got no tunes for traveling. It'd be nice if there was a little do. Gravesite, let's check it out. Oof. Rough. Poor bastard. Now, it's nice to give you a different tune at each stop, but it sounds pretty bad. It's super dated. They did pretty nice work with these pixel graphics. I think it's a bit charming and nostalgic, but that's because I am an old dude, and I remembered playing this in school. I think most people from the mid to late 80s to the mid 90s had this game or some version of it that they played in their school, because it sold 65 million copies, I believe, and I know in my school it was offered as a incentive. If you were good or whatever, you got a chance to play Oregon Trail. And as a kid, I wasn't as good at balancing the resources. I'll try to repair it. I was able to repair it, so I didn't need to use one of the spares I have. If you can't repair it, you got to use a spare. If you can't repair it and you don't have any spares, I guess you're stuck until someone comes along and offers you a trade. One of the things about this game, because there's not much to talk about as far as graphics and audio goes, and gameplay is super basic, uh, is that it includes these little touches. In the earlier versions, they didn't have talking to people at stops, they didn't have the map, they didn't have the tombstones on the trail even. So this version really added a lot of stuff. Whoops. I think we're gonna head for Green River because it. If you go to Fort Bridger, you notice it's way to the south of my black line, and I'm not about that. That's for people who don't have a ton of money to spend. Wrong trails all day, every day. Would I like to look around? Always, because this is your reward, looking around. Seeing these images in the mid 80s, that was a reward. I'll tell you what. And 20 feet deep, so that's serious depth. So of course, I'm gonna take a ferry. And I go, 5 days. Killing me with this. The $5, no problem. 5 days, that's murder. Because every day costs you food, and every day puts me closer to crossing the Rockies in the winter, which I do not want to do. I'm going to have to hunt for food at some point. That's going to be fun. I'll do it on the far side of Soda Springs. I can't believe my daughter Emptiness has got lost. It's her head must be emptiness. Ha 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 ha. No, she's great. Hopefully everyone survives. What a perfect family. And I'll talk to some people. Cutoffs to. Well, I don't know about that. This game gives you very few options to leave the trail. And let's see if anyone wants to trade. He wants food. I don't have food. I want food. And so I'm going to continue, and then I'm going to stop. Ooh, I found some wild fruit. And I'm going to hunt. At this point, I think I might be running into bears instead of bison. They don't offer as much food, but still you only need to shoot one bear, because they typically drop between 100. Yeah, I can't get 100 and 150 pounds. Ay, ay, ay. Just wanted I don't believe I can end early. I don't know. I hit cheeky deer. I hit a bunch of keys and it didn't do much. Oh my. They're just teasing me now. Just because I'm a rich banker from Boston. They're like, this guy can't hunt. Not even a squirrel. Painful. My family's gonna starve to death. I don't know why I took them on the trail. I should have just stayed home in Boston and run my bank and not worried about it. So I'm using the number pad to turn my guy around. You can also use the period and the comma key to rotate him slowly, but with this I can jump all around. It's a little bit easier. I mean, maybe it was more difficult at the time to use the number pad, but I think most people who have a passing familiarity with video games would be really comfortable using the number pad to... Why did I do that? Now I can't shoot anything on that side of me. Would be really familiar or comfortable with using the number pad to aim. But yeah, hunting's got some trade-offs. My farmer lived by it. My farmer spent like weeks gathering food, and I had them leave the earliest possible time so they could spend weeks because they couldn't afford to just buy all their food. Oh, here's a fort. Ooh, it's a fire. Who's starting fires in my wagons? Stupid bankers. My farmers never started a fire in their wagon. Yeah, I'd like to look around. And I am going to buy supplies. That is some expensive food. How many pounds do I want? Well, give me 800. Yep, that's good for me. It's nice being a rich banker. Wish I was a rich banker in real life. This should take me throughout the rest of the trail. The missus has broken her arm. And there's inadequate grass, which means my oxen are suffering. Hope they don't die. Little water contributes to... This guy gets lost at the drop of a hat. I don't know how the code works for this game as to whether or not the banker's got more time figuring stuff out than the farmer. Oh hey, it's a friendly native. And I bet he'll be willing to guide me. And I am willing to pay him to guide me. And all he wants is 3 sets of clothes, so sure. That's pretty nice for me. There's not much to say regarding the graphics. There's not much to say regarding the controls. There's not much to say regarding the limited sound. And many of the things that occur are random. Like, randomly one of my oxen has died, and there wasn't much I could do about it. Good thing I got spare parts. The only thing I can do is what I am doing, which is traveling at the slowest speed with the highest rations, which puts the least amount of stress on all the members of my party. Fort Boys. On top of spaghetti all covered with cheese. I lost my poor meatball when somebody sneezed. Could buy more supplies. Food. Everything gets more expensive the further you get on the trail. By 600. And then we'll leave. But I'm really just going to get across. I did my farmer run already. Sad that I lost it. I haven't lost any people yet though, which is good. Actually, let's take a look at my map. Ooh, almost there. So I'm coming up on the big culmination of the game. Which is the most exciting aspect for a game that's not excessively exciting, which will be when I get to the Dales, I believe. And then you've got, well, you'll see when we get there. I suppose the ultimate question comes, is this game worth playing? Yeah, I'm going to head for the Dales because I'm in for the excitement. Is this game worth playing? Well, currently it's free. Stupid uncle, broken arm. You should stop climbing on the wagon. Currently, it's free. You can Google it and find it on retro games. I don't know that anyone still charges for the 1985 version. They've got newer, more graphically enhanced versions. Ay ay ay. Lots of people getting injured. But the again, that sucks. Uh, I lost my train of thought when she broke her arm twice. Um, right, this game is a huge part of history. M- Mostly, I think I'm gonna float the river for the adventure. Mostly, I think because this is a game that lots of people who were not gamers ended up playing. Not everyone necessarily had a Nintendo or an Atari or whatever in '85, or even an Apple IIe or a different type of computer. But this found its way into a ton of classrooms, which is why it was played so widely. Is that you go to school, and the school had a computer, or generally, not always. First sign, I'm looking for the third sign. A computer at school generally, and they offered this for kids to play as an educational game. So it kind of transcended gaming culture at a time when gaming was less mainstream. This was what? I can't remember where this was in relation to the video game Crash. I think it was still before it, so it's still kind of popular gaming, but it was also still a niche topic. I haven't been paying attention to signs. That's okay. After the third sign, there will be a trail that I need to land at. Now, with my farmers, I thought I needed to. Oh, thank God! They actually accounted for the fact that the top of the wagon is not part of the raft. Now, it had some odd clipping, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised for games at the time. And I'm going to try to cut this close. Oops, there's the trail. If they just counted it as a hitbox. So that's kudos to them. And my poor farmers, I thought I was supposed to land at the third sign, and they crashed into the shore, and the game took some of my oxen. I made it to Oregon. Let's see how many points. That's a lot of points. Everyone's in good health. I got my wagon. Don't know how you get more than one wagon. I got my oxen, some spare parts, some clothes, some bullets, some food, and a little bit of money to start me off on my new life. Not too bad. And because I'm a banker, I didn't get any bonus to my score. You can see my 2 farmer runs a little bit higher up. No, not like to make any changes. So, in this time when most people are staying home, to keep it topical because of the outbreak, and to really date this episode, if you want to travel across the country, you can play the Oregon Trail. It's worth trying out. It's free. It's dated, so don't go into it expecting the sky. If you haven't ever utilized it, or if you want a little bit of nostalgia from the past, it's not a huge time sink. You can beat the game in under 30 minutes if you know what you're doing. Or if you don't, you can get your entire family killed in like 10 minutes, which, you know, might be your style. Who knows? I don't know. No one watches these anyway, so it wouldn't be anyone's style. But I think it's worth at least a test run. Stay safe and have a great day.